This is so awesome what we're about to watch. Bad because of who is talking, but awesome because of how much of a failure this is. So over the weekend, there was a Turning Point action event. Turning Point USA, Charlie Kirk's organization, held an event, and a bunch of people, Trump and Don Jr. and Marjorie Greene, spoke at it. And Marjorie Greene, in trying to insult President Joe Biden, made Biden sound so awesome and compared him to LBJ and FDR, and said Biden's just continuing work that historically is seen in a very good light by the American people. I don't know what she was thinking with this, but take a look at Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene trying to insult Biden.
Lyndon B. Johnson is very similar to Joe Biden. How are they the same? They're both Democrat socialists. Lyndon B. Johnson was the majority.
By the way, I'm going to keep complaining about this because I don't understand why they get it wrong over and over and over again. Democrat socialist, that's just not correct. You can try to insult someone, but why is this weird trend right now common on the right where you say things purposely incorrectly? Democratic socialist, even though Biden's not a democratic socialist, that would be the term. Okay, small thing, continuing.
Majority leader in the Senate. Does that sound familiar? He was vice president to Kennedy. Joe was vice president to Obama. He was appointed as the president after JFK was assassinated, then he was elected. His big socialist programs were the Great Society. The Great Society were big government programs to address education, medical care, urban problems, rural poverty, transportation, Medicare, Medicaid, food stamps.
Ugh, can you imagine? Biden's trying to be like them.
And welfare, the Office of Economic Opportunity, and big labor and labor unions. Now, LBJ had the Great Society, but Joe Biden had Build Back Better, and he still is working on it. The largest public investment in social infrastructure and environmental programs that is actually finishing what FDR started, that LBJ expanded on.
Just take this, put a little music under it, and run it as a campaign ad for Biden.
And Joe Biden is attempting to complete socialism. Meanwhile, we are...
Yes, repairing roads and bridges, as she referred to the largest investment in infrastructure, socialism.
Meanwhile, we are now $32 trillion in debt.
And Trump, of course, added more to that debt than Biden.
With record high homelessness, 40-year record inflation, we're losing the U.S. dollar as the #1 world currency. We're losing our freedoms. Our government is one...
Okay, normal fear-mongering there that we've addressed in the past. So let's go through this. I have a list for you that we'll walk through in a moment of maybe what she's referring to as being an expansion on the initiatives that happened under FDR and LBJ, and why she sees Biden as a little 2.0 of those two individuals. And while it shouldn't be forgotten the massive failures that happened under those two presidents' leadership, of course, notably, also, it's true that the especially social programs that are kind of known as their big legislative successes are hugely popular, and their presidencies are seen very positively by Americans today. So to say Biden's like them is a strange rhetorical strategy whenever you're trying to make him look bad. Now, maybe she's referring to and has an issue with the largest investment in infrastructure since the Eisenhower Interstate Highway Program that's happened under President Biden's leadership, or she doesn't like the fact that Biden's trying to get more clean, reliable drinking water out to certain communities. We currently have 10 million Americans who don't have access to clean, reliable drinking water, and $55 billion under the same infrastructure law is being spent to address that. Or maybe she doesn't like that rural communities especially are benefiting from investments in broadband internet, expanding internet access out to those communities. Or she doesn't like bridges and roads being invested in a historic fashion under Biden's leadership, repairing and rebuilding. Or she doesn't like airports being upgraded, passenger rail being invested in, electric vehicle charging stations. She definitely doesn't like that being expanded and invested in, or moving to the Inflation Reduction Act. She might not like that. We've seen the largest investment in green energy, the economy that is huge now, but definitely will be that of the future in a massive way, creating jobs as years go on with this huge historic investment in green energy that is unmatched historically. And I'm sure she doesn't like the fact that the changes to the tax code under the Inflation Reduction Act will bring in more tax revenue from billionaires and millionaires. And maybe she has an issue with her constituents paying less in prescription drug costs because of the actions taken by the Biden administration and Democrats under the Inflation Reduction Act to allow Medicare to negotiate drug prices, as well as capping the cost of insulin at $35 per month out of pocket. Or she might have an issue with his economic record, overseeing a historic job growth that has been a part of the larger economic recovery that was faster and more effective than other G7 countries. And so when you compare economies globally, the United States has done better than other economies. And right now we're seeing the lowest inflation compared to other G7 countries. So I don't know exactly what those items will do to hurt Biden, but feel free, Marjorie Greene, to continue to bash Biden for those historic pieces of legislative victories. And sure, call him the LBJ and FDR 2.0, I guess. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to be a part of what makes this show possible, plus get access to the full video version of the show hours before all the clips are able to be uploaded to the YouTube channel, plus get the bonus show on the weekends, you can do so by going to lukebeasleyshow.com/membership. That's lukebeasleyshow.com/membership, and there's a link in the description.